right, gotta give the fans their chance to speak or yell.
Then we let the players do the talking, Achilles.
Yeah, we do. And KongDoo Panthera right now going to be starting things off over on attack. Okay, but for now, we can see that Birdering is, in fact, hovering over that Widowmaker.
Now, they have a pretty creative lineup on attack so far, so some of it's not going to come to pass. Rascal on the Sombra is certainly a possibility. Maybe another one of these Sombra battles that, if you think about it, could decide the overall flow of this particular night, because we know that Sombra is right in the middle of the meta, and it is also the speciality of Rascal and Eska.
And I feel like we haven't really had a clear answer as to who's playing the better Sombra so far, but I think the answer as to who's playing around the Sombra is definitely Lunatic-Hai.
Sure.
The sound barriers we've seen guarantee enough charge for Eska to grab those EMPs on Eichenwald. The coordination looking much better. Not going to be Birdering on the Widow, though. It is going to be the Tracer. And it's going to be Talon.
Yeah, they're opening with the Talon comp here. They have Luffy opening up, flexing onto DPS with the Reaper that they've already run once to success, you'll remember, on attack against Lunatic-Hai, and here he is.
And there's going to be no flanking. This is going to be a charge straight in onto the point here for the side of KongDoo Panthera, who nearly have that first hit coming through. Will now have it. As they start dropping in, Fisher will be the recipient of that sleep dart from Ryujay-Hong, but he's woken up very swiftly. Still alive in the fight now. Luffy pushing forward for a target here with this Reaper. Finds the Diva, has it back to the corner, but Zuba is mitigating quite a lot with the defense bases. Will actually take down Void behind the Reaper. 6 acquired here for KongDoo Panthera, still looking for a little bit more. How long they can stay in the fight, because they are being counted down at the moment. The hack comes through in onto Toby as they try to kill him, but Lucio is still alive.
Still going with the Lucio here, actually, to keep Toby alive, but he's close to ultimate.
It's very close to ultimate. Nearly has that one as we see our first EMP of the map coming through. Eska, go ahead and toss that one out. We try to save them off. Going back over onto that high ground as we have both teams dropping in the sound barriers simultaneously. Zimba has that self-destruct ready to go, zipping around. The health pack takes him out before he can re-mac, and that might just be the halt here by KongDoo Panthera.
The Diva mechanics for once are actually worth talking about. I feel like the ult onto Toby was intentional. We've seen it before on Gibraltar this season to allow him to get to his ultimate. They are fighting in close quarters against a Reaper comp. It makes sense to keep the sound barrier available. They keep it available, they hold on to it, and first attack fails for Panthera.
And also the AoE healing for more sustained composition there is going to be a huge factor as well. My big MVP for that fight was Zumba, though. He had the good mechanics on the Diva there. He protected the majority of Luffy's Reaper damage, and even stopped the remeching there on the side of Void.
Now we're just going to have an all-out brawl here onto the high ground. EMP gets dropped out by Rascal, trying to hunt down onto this. Tracer will be able to take out Tito. Now Luffy, he drops down, but he immediately has to go ahead. Double kill does come through here for Zumba, buying some precious time for KongDoo Panthera. It's going to be Luffy spinning around with the Death Blossom in onto the point to try to go ahead and take this one out. One final shot will find Zumba. That will be the cap, but significantly delayed by Lunatic-Hai. 5 minutes, 40 seconds remaining.
The change on the Reaper, you can see in full effect there, because he fell below 100 health, was able to pop the ultimate and ended up healing himself through it. It's almost self-heal for the Reaper, have this new lifesteal. They claim point A, and now it's the difficult point B to capture on Temple of Anubis.
Lunatic-Hai using a lot to defend, but not everything, so this is not going to be the first push getting the cap here. They're just going to do some eco-poking right now to try to get that ult charge up.
And this is the map where they debuted the Talon comp. This is where we learned about the power of Sombra ultimate into the Death Blossom. They don't have both of those available, so like you say, eco pushes to get that ult economy is the big thing for Panthera.
Tito just running straight into Birdering, takes him down with a couple of headshots.
The problem with eco pushes with a Reaper, though, is that he really has to commit to get any sort of ult shots. He can't just take pot shots like a soldier trying to farm up his ultimate, so it's actually quite difficult. You kind of have to go for a more serious commitment onto the point and try to maybe draw out a support ultimate while you're getting the Reaper his own.
Exactly. The eco pushes for Reaper just take so much longer. They're so much more expensive in terms of time bank when you fail there. He's got the escape, but no mobility like a Tracer or, of course, a Sombra.
Ultom coming out, not quite going to find Waka Waka. Just displacing for the moment, forces out that sound barrier as KongDoo Panthera pushes in, starting to look for this point B. Nearly have that first kick, but Luffy is going to be the first one that falls. It's the hack down EMP thrown out by Rascal. Is able to snap back in time, but really no kills to come in to follow up onto that one. Self-destruct will get thrown down. Not going to find a damn thing. J-Hawk now over onto this soldier, fires away with Knack Visor, but doesn't get too much for it, but it still seems like Lunatic-Hai will hold on to point B, not even allow for that first tick. And Miro, he's just going to get a nice stagger on a Fisher.
And they can't even pressure out the sound barrier. They also use quite a lot. Rascal using his ultimate's not a big factor. That'll probably be up in synchronicity with Luffy having his Death Blossom, but they've used so much that the moment they get Death Blossom, they still need to be doing some more ult economy management to even get the talent pump going.
And with that health pack stolen in the bottom, of course, controlled by Eska, it's so difficult for them to heal up when they're doing these eco pushes. We're going to see the pulse bomb here for Guido, who's holding on to it. Here comes
Death Blossom thrown down there by Luffy, just fine too. Sumba and Guido both falling. Still chasing him, trying to take down Toby, but it's a bit too far away.
Both tanks down.
Back over onto that high ground. Both tanks have fallen. And J-Home goes down right at the end. So onto the soldier. Toby tries to buy some time up onto the high ground, but he gets put to the side and gets taken down in the end. Guido immediately off the respawn. Gets taken out. Sumba knocked out of the mech yet again. KongDoo Panthera might just have it. They're ticking upward as they desperately try to hold on to this one, but that's going to be it. 3 minutes, 3 seconds remaining. KongDoo Panthera, they get the cap on point B.
And what's most interesting about this to me is, sure, we've seen this comp before. We've seen it on Anubis specifically. It was shown to us by this squad. And you have Luffy, who's never really played a lot of Reaper. We've seen him flex onto the soldier. And he, with these weeks of time between the semifinals and the finals, has been able to tweak in this hero into his hero pool to make this happen. They didn't have to sacrifice one of their DPSs. They switched the support onto the Reaper. Sombra plays the secondary support in this case, and it looks quite strong.
And when you see the Reaper, it's always a switch when you get to point B. It's not on point A. As you see the beautiful Lotte Tower highlighting the Overwatch logo there. You don't often open the Reaper. If anything, you're opening the Widowmaker, as we thought Birdring might. But think about the rock, paper, scissors. If you're expecting Birdring to open the Widowmaker, you hang back. You don't show yourselves in sight lines. And when you're hanging back, guess who can get to the point a lot safer than usually? It's the Reaper, who often struggles to even get onto point A. So they play the next level. They take point A faster than expected. And it's a pretty respectable first cap.
And when Reaper stands there first, you can't really dive back in. It's much more difficult to retake. That's Reaper's weaknesses, the approach, which is why we saw Jae-Hong switch to the soldier several times. But it's a lifesteal that keeps him up in those longer fights when they try to retake. Here's
the moment that he saw D.Va's mech go down, opens the ultimate. It was only two. It was only D.Va and one more member that went through. That was really big because that was when they didn't have ult economy. That was largely just about the Death Blossom. And now on defense, they're sticking with the Reaper.
Yeah, they're going to be running this talent yet again, and Birdring is going to be on that Genji. Changing things up. No Tracer here for KongDoo Panthera is going to be a bit interesting.
Single support. Usually you have an Ana on defense here because of the good sight lines to get healing to help your front line, but now your front line is largely DPS focused.
Now it's going to be a ranged attack here for Lunatic-Hai. Looks like Panthera wants to try to collapse onto, say, Miro, but that's not going to be the approach. They're going to take a slower one here with the Widow. Now to go up onto the high ground potentially to look for some pot shots. Here it comes.
Up into the air, looking for a shot. Not finding anybody yet at the moment. They're all hiding back around the corners.
And we can see the Genji fighting around the bridge, but no sight line there.
Yeah, Luffy immediately going to have to go into that raid form to get himself out of here. The leap out comes through from Fisher as well. Can't maintain this forward position. They don't really get much for it. This guy starts pushing in. Really fine. Rascal has the translocation to get himself out of there safely. Birdring has to dash up into the air, but Eska has the shot from the high ground. Takes down the Genji. So just maintaining this post, helping to pop out that barrier. This Luffy has fallen as well, and this might be a swift one here for the side of Lunatic-Hai.
There's just no pressure onto Eska whatsoever. They definitely went for a different call. They don't even have an Ana to shoot out a sleep dart at him. It's a free shooting ground.
Forward orb, plus the headshot comes through. Rascal is able to answer one onto J-Home as he drops down that EMP, but he gets taken out right at the end. Guido dashing forward just claims his life, and that should be the cap, you'd have to say here, for Lunatic-Hai.
And what we're seeing from Panthera is they had a plan. They wanted to go hyper dive, right? They wanted to have the triple DPS with Rascal on the Sombra. They wanted to dive perhaps Miro when he came in, or maybe trap Guido when he swung around the corner. They had a plan, but it was countered by what we saw from Lunatic-Hai. And it's not about the headshots. Eska didn't pop off and get a quad kill or anything like that, but it's the pressure that provides, forcing everybody off the point.
Widowmaker warps games without just hitting the headshots. It's about the sightline denial. If KongDoo Panthera had killed the Winston and then back to the point with a Reaper, they would have been strong. But the moment they lost the point, it was Reaper slowly trying to get back to a point A. It was never going to work. So first capture, comfortable for Lunatic-Hai.
And now KongDoo Panthera, they're still all in on this Reaper. They want to try to enable Luffy with the Death Blossom on this defense, but it's still just going to be so risky. Onto the point goes Lunatic-Hai, almost get that first thing. Halfway there as Birdring goes in, dashes forward, finds the kill onto Eska.
Waiting for the moment.
Firing into the background, finds Waka Waka, still has that pulse bomb ready to go, can use it to try to pop this D.Va out of the mech perhaps. They just hound down Luffy, the kills spilling over in favor of Lunatic-Hai. They still have a plethora of ultimates to choose from. J-Home will die, but they're on to the point, but it's still not ticking up much. EMP dropped out here by Rascal, murdering back into the fight. Nearly has the Dragon Blade, but can't couple it with the EMP. Now gets it, goes low. Can he get the health back? We'll be able to pick it up in time.
Was hacked on his side, of course.
Dashes through, looking for a kill. It seems like KongDoo Panthera, they give up the first tick, but they have saved off Lunatic-Hai for the moment. That kill on Nikito going to be a nice stagger.
And it's so important they bought this time because this is a comp that requires these ultimates, the Dragon Blade and that Death Blossom. And Lunatic-Hai almost stole those away from them, almost were able to get the cap before those massive power spikes, you could say, with the composition came online. So a really critical hold here. Could have been a massive time bank lead for Lunatic-Hai. And they hold on to the self-destruct.
I had a deep breath the moment that we saw Birdring stand on the box. Was it going to be for the side of KongDoo Panthera or Lunatic-Hai? It was their own health, but they got back on. Both DPS ultimates up and getting a narrow corridor.
Luffy looking for the angle here with the Death Blossom, but still has to be worried about that transformation. Pulse Bomb comes through, finds the stick, he gets taken down right after he kills Guido, but KongDoo Panthera are still the ones capitalizing off of those picks. A full team wipe goes
Double
through.
denial again of that Dragon Blade. He switches onto the Pharah now. He's just going to try to use the air advantage here to hold on to this one. And Luffy still holds onto that the Death Blossom. He couldn't actually execute it there. Still, close calls.
And they're just trying to vary things up. What this does will buy them time because suddenly you see Pharah on defense on Temple of Anubis of all things, and then you have to feel like you want to tweak your comp when you're attacking. They want to buy time. Lunatic-Hai, about a minute till they're actually matching the time bank of KongDoo Panthera.
That's going to be the EMP coming through from Rascal. Death Blossom ready to go, but Luffy goes dangerously low, so he has to go ahead and hold on to it for the moment. Now pushing back in. It's still going to be KongDoo Panthera training up. They lose out on their Sombra, but they still fire back. They find more kills.
And when you're fighting in this room with the Lucio AoE healing and this short range for the Reaper to get autos in, he's shooting and basically always being at full health. He's always topped up and doesn't even have to use ultimate to do so.
Exactly. That's what's most impressive about this hold for Panthera. They looked one extra step ahead. They weren't going to waste this. They weren't going to use it early, even though it was the best opportunity to, because it wasn't required.
Jaehong is on the Mei. He runs the attack on Volskaya, attack here. They feel like the Blizzard on the point may be the only way to guarantee it.
They're looking for the big six. They're about to have all of them. The Blizzard is going to be the final step here as Guido's nearing that pulse bomb. Panthera still holds on to that Death Blossom, which is what they need. Luffy is going to be in the front lines.
Not a whole lot to work with here for KongDoo Panthera. They need this Death Blossom to just be so very effective. They come up with multiple kills. Rascal really does have that EMP couple with it. We'll go ahead and find each other, just spraying away. Going dangerously low on either side. It's going to be the translocation back from Rascal, keep himself alive, and now Eska pushing in. Forward with the rest of his team. He'll get EMP'd first. Rascal going to go ahead and pull the trigger on that one, but we still do not see that Death Blossom thrown out by Luffy because he doesn't feel the need to use it. 4 kills swiftly come in for KongDoo Panthera. A self-destruct thrown out by Zumba, but it's not going to bite a damn thing. They're able to kite back. They're able to maintain the hold.
KongDoo Panthera had to use the EMP first and take down Jaehong at 99% towards the Blizzard. Because the Blizzard goes down, we're back to Season 1. It's all about Blizzard answering the Beyblades back then. It's not a Beyblade, it's just about the Death Blossom here. But the Blizzard was always the true answer to the Reaper.
It's unfortunate Zumba had to use his self-destruct there. Well, you could argue he didn't have to, but because he did, they're not going to have the big six they had before. Time is ticking down now. And if with this hold, Death Blossom, Panthera holds one more time, this may just end up being the forced hold on the second point by Panthera.
I mean, either way, they're still going to have the larger time bank. 3:03 the final time by them. It's 2:03 now for Lunatic-Hai. They're going to have to likely dump everything into this attack if they want to take this point B, which they so desperately do. Barrage coming down for Birdring. He's going to get sniped out of the sky by Rio Jaehong, now pushing forward. Looking to freeze up some targets. Has that Blizzard ready to go. Will throw it in as Luffy will get locked up. Will get smacked away, but he's still alive for the moment. And Eska has been taken down off screen. Jaehong hacked out, firing away with the right leg. Comes up with a hit in onto Void with the Death Blossom. Finally shows himself, and Luffy comes up with a kill onto Zumba. Jaehong is still here. He's still trying to buy time for his squad. Entering into that ice block, throws down the wall to try to keep himself in this, but he's just going to get finished off, and it wasn't even the second tick, I don't believe, for the side of Lunatic-Hai. No, it's now retreating. They push in everything, and they get nothing.
And you can see the full-on look on the face of Jaehong. They realize how much they committed and how unlikely they are at being able to finally complete the map. Esko goes down. This Reaper, we thought it could be a new meta, but Reaper as a solo hero is answering. every time we see him, he is staying at full health, and Jayhawk is opting in as well.
He's saying, all right, I'm going to have to go and do what Luffy's done here. I'm going to have to take the Reaper. The surprise tactic here for Panthera. We've seen it before, but never at this level of effectiveness. The conservative use of the Death Blossom too. Lunatic-Hai had the massive ult advantage. They couldn't make it work with 5. Will they be able to make it work at all is the big question.
Boyd threw out that self-destruct. Find anything for it, just kept Lunatic-Hai zoned back as the clock still drops. Eska finds a kill here onto the Eva. They'll go charging through, but the EMP hits first from Rascal. Can they follow up with the kills? Eska staying alive, will be able to use his ultimate unless he gets picked off randomly. It seems like they are in onto the point. Defense comes through from Fisher. Sound barrier down. EMP comes out, and they'll go ahead. They'll scoop up Bird Ring. They'll get Luffy. Waka Waka all going down as Lunatic-Hai look to end things right here, right now. They have the second tick. They need to go the distance, but it seems like they're going to be able to do just that. Fisher comes back up, leaps in, gets cut down.
Wants to get that overtime.
Wants to be a massive delay here, but that's going to be it. Luffy trying to buy a little bit more. Pops the Death Blossom, goes in, but he's not getting any kills, and that will be the cap. 1 minute on the clock here for Lunatic-Hai is all that they're going to have to the 3 minutes, 3 seconds of KongDoo Panthera.
Very important, I feel like, that we really stress the fact that this is not normal what we're seeing from the side of Panthera. This is not what they've shown us before. This is new, and Lunatic-Hai took some time to adapt with it. But we saw a little bit of shakiness. I feel like the first time in this series we've seen nerves. When Zuma dropped down the self-destruct, that's when I started to worry for Lunatic-Hai. Why use it there? Why not go for the big attack there where after everything's used defensively, the Winston shield is gone. You have the opportunity to get some big picks, and no time left really on the side of Lunatic-Hai. A lot of swaps there, a lot of struggling, and Panthera, they've shown this to us now on 2 maps.
They only get the minimum 1 minute here, just Lunatic-Hai. They will be attacking first for clarity.
Yeah, and of course I mentioned, you know, the 303 that they were able to complete with KongDoo Panthera will get that bump, so 4 minutes, 3 seconds for them, the final amount of time that they have to push with.
And the crazy thing is that if you told your friends, you know, watch KongDoo Panthera, they're the team with the star DPS duo, people are going to be trying to work out exactly who that duo is, because Luffy has been playing the Reaper pretty consistently, the triple DPS that they only played a handful of maps on, not even days, but maps earlier in the season, has been the real big change. And KongDoo Panthera, in the time where 3 of the members of Lunatic-Hai were going to scrim with Team Korea, have been scrimming in 6, and they have a lot more recent synergy to build on.
All right, well, here we go. It's going to be Lunatic-Hai starting things off on the attack again. Only a minute, and they're going to be running Eska with this Widowmaker, which will very likely not be able to contest the point for them if it comes down to it. He's still going to be operating up onto this high ground, and everybody from KongDoo Panthera, they're sort of expecting this because they're playing back around the corner.
Basically the same thing we saw last time, forcing them to hide like prairie dogs here as he looks for the shots, and they do get a very aggressive position, not as successful as last time.
You know, going forward, just spraying away into Fisher, and they will find that opening kill. Nicely done here, getting rid of that tanky member is going to get rid of all of that delay that KongDoo Panthera can likely offer up. Bird Ring falls as well. We see Lunatic-Hai start shifting around, will be making their way onto the point. They get the pop out on the Void. They get rid of Luffy. Waka Waka has fallen, and now it's really all onto Bird Ring and Rascal. Bird Ring swapping over to the Tracer to try to buy some time, but the first stick has already come through.
And Rascal might just have to back away and give it up because they might have to deal with a rush onto the second point. 5 members dead, only Rascal alive. He pulls back, he actually dies right at the end. And KongDoo Panthera have to be worried about the snowball cap. Eska very instantly switches onto the Reaper, just so they have that as an option.
And they want to use this Reaper a little bit differently than how Luffy's using it. They want to use it to burst the tanks, because the tanks are going to be the time buyers here. Void, Fisher, these are the heroes that have high mobility and high health pools. He's going to be using that to try to build up to a Death Blossom if the fight goes long, but mostly this is going to be to burst down those tanks to get the full cap. It's going to be a miracle if they make it happen, but that's the goal.
You know, pushing in from behind, so they work their way on. It's going to be an overtime here, so Lunatic-Hai going to get the pile in onto the point as they wrap around into the catacombs. All these guys shifting back in onto the point will drop that sound barrier down. They try to get themselves alive, and yet again, it's going to be the tanks. The first one's falling. It's going to be Fisher. Popped out on the back is Void going low, and they might not be able to hold on, but the point is still not ticking up yet for Lunatic-Hai. They'll start moving now. First tick coming through. That's 33%, looking for 66. Nearly have that ready to go, and they're still just firing away. It's only Fisher left alive, and they might just get the cap in overtime here on the point. Pete Fisher desperately going down. That Primal Rage. The Sleep comes in and gets woken back up, but he'll die right then after. And it's just going to be massive delay tactics now from the side of KongDoo Panthera, trying to buy time for the rest of the team to come back in, but they might not get the opportunity as they come in, one after the other, getting cut down. Void uses the self-destruct, now cornered, has to fly out of there to try to keep himself alive, but Eska is posturing forward, has that Death Blossom, throws it down, finds a kill, finds another as Fisher will fall, and it seems like Lunatic-Hai might just have the advantage. Nano boost in onto Eska, firing away with the shotguns, desperately trying to get the victory, but KongDoo Panthera are giving it their all. They are not backing down. They want to hold right here. They want to go the distance. They want this lead in the series, but it just doesn't seem likely. The sound barrier is still there for Lunatic-Hai, now expiring as a re-engage comes through. Luffy has it. Popsuma out of the mech. No defense matrix of mitigating, but he gets chopped down by Eska, who scoops up a double kill. Yet again, KongDoo Panthera will not be able to get back in, and that will be the cap.
Unbelievable capture by Lunatic-Hai with only a single minute in the pool. They get both point A and point B. The point 8 was clean. It seemed clear that KongDoo Panthera thought they would vary up their approach. They didn't, and they will rout it in one push. But right at the end, holding back, they realized that Rascal would be forced to use EMP. He used EMP for nothing. They held on to everything. They started the fight just as overtime ticked in, and they always had a numbers advantage with the longer death time.
It was a 1-2 punch. The first part is use the Widowmaker, force them into the choke point. As I said, the prairie dog effect. They go into the hole, and that's when massive value for Miro comes in. The EMP, when it does go off there, they're all in the choke point. They all get hit by it. The second part was when he switches to the Reaper to burst down the tanks. Who were the first two heroes to die there? It was Void and Fisher on the Diva, and of course the Winston respectively. And that was the secondary push. A miracle. This does not happen. They made it happen with a hero swap in the middle of the push, and it was very, very well coordinated.
And that's the coolest part, is that we're actually seeing both teams one-up each other on hero swaps. That's something we expect from KongDoo Panthera, surely. But seeing it from Lunatic-Hai, their flexibility to also match with the Reaper. Who knows how much practice they put into that particular strategy recently when you're not fully committing to the Zarya, to the Reinhardt, like we saw in some of those Team Korea scrims. But everything keeps evolving, and this is the quintessential Overwatch story of the constant rock, paper, scissors.
Well, here we go. KongDoo Panthera going to go ahead and kick things off for their attack. 4 minutes, 3 seconds on the clock, but they have to go the distance. They have to make it all the way towards point B and get that capture. Had a bit of trouble getting that first cap coming through. You don't see Birdring using that Widowmaker yet again. It's just going to be starting things off with the Tracer.
A lot more time to work with here. Again, we're going to actually see Jaehong on the Ana, so perhaps looking for sleep darts to deny some of Luffy's value. If he sleeps, he can't lifesteal, gets killed immediately if that happens.
Snap back there. Rascal tries to poke out, builds up for that EMP. Currently on the same pace as Eska, so might just have double EMPs coming in simultaneously, but for now it's going to be KongDoo Panthera suffering heavy losses. Waka Waka trying to kite back, will force out that recall there from Guido, but he gets taken down by Toby in the end anyway, so KongDoo Panthera on their first attack is not going to gain save.
Yeah, Panthera spent so much time trying to chase down Ana. They saw the shots and they realized they needed to close down the distance on Jaehong, but they never really trapped her in a corner. They ended up getting picked and transitioned multiple times. Rascal is alive, pretty healthy, looking for an EMP on the point when the respawns come in, but they need to find a way to deal with the support.
They didn't get the Reaper on the point this time. Luffy's unable to build up that ult charge. He's not even halfway there yet, so this attack much less successful than the last one, but they got on the point immediately because of the defensive play from Lunatic-Hai, caused by Birdring's Widow.
Rascal going to go ahead, throws down that EMP. Eska about to have his ready to go, but there's no kills coming through. Outside the one onto Jaehong here for KongDoo Panthera.
The support's down.
They do find Toby. There's going to be both supports falling, but they lose Luffy. They lose Waka Waka right afterward. Fisher getting his Primal Rage, pops it out, matching that of Miro's self-destruct on the point. Not going to be finding anything. It seems like Void is able to make it back into the mech this time around. He's not going to get knocked out of his. Doesn't have the self-destruct. He's 5% shy of that one. They're trying to buy more time, but it's still not even a single tick for KongDoo Panthera here on the point. Lunatic-Hai are holding firmly.
Guido is fighting on the point so valiantly, still sticking on taking down the tanky members. They're doing so well here. Compared to some expectations, actually gets picked the nano boost.
Yeah, throws it down onto him. It's going to be the sound barrier coming up from KongDoo Panthera. Immediately to try to respond to this one. Miro will get taken down. The hack comes through as Guido still keeps himself alive, but he's got a Reaper. He's got a Tracer hounding him down, so he will fall. Birdring Hit by that biotic grenade, staying alive for the moment. Will get taken down at the end by Toby, but it's only been those 2 ticks getting ready to come through here for KongDoo Panthera. Lunatic-Hai, 2 members still dead. Seems like they might just give this up.
They finally managed to get Luffy onto the point, but the firing squad enacted on the supports. This time they get there, but not with a massive time bank. Sure, Lunatic-Hai finished in overtime, but all they have right now are the DPS ults.
Okay, here comes the Death Blossom.
Pushes forward, looking for the Death Blossom, but the May wall comes through and just stops him from getting inside the room. Not too many people in there that he could have killed either way, but still delays him and burns out that major ultimate there for Luffy. Loses out on that murdering, finds Jaehong, but they still cannot get themselves onto the point yet.
We saw actually Jaehong switch onto the Mei. He had a nano boost but didn't use it. He was so desperate to switch to the Mei to get that Blizzard early on. So it's going to be another flexible swift swap here from the support main.
Coming through here for Rascal. He'll be riding up into the wall, trying to keep himself alive. He'll be able to do so. Almost gets popped back up as he does stay alive. Nice block coming here from Jaehong. Keeps himself in. Will get the heal coming through. Maywall gets moved back over to the side, and Luffy's going to be the first one that falls as that Tiebreaker comes down from KongDoo Panthera. So will not be receiving it, will not be staying in the fight. Self-destruct. Not going to get anything either here. For Void as he re-enters into the back. Not even a single tick here for KongDoo Panthera. They invested quite a lot to get themselves in onto the point.
Kill the damn Toby!
Still looking for the fight, but Toby is just sitting up into the corner, poops away.
Toby's just a god, he's still
He's
alive!
got sound barrier, but he gets picked up before he can use it. Jaehong buying time. He doesn't have that Blizzard yet. He's been unable to build it.
Yeah, he finally does go down, and KongDoo Panthera, they're all in for it. They want it right here on this push, even 40 seconds remaining. EMP coming through here for Eska, firing away.
Time for the Blizzard!
Kills, but it's still going to be Guido, Zumba, and Jaehong all going down as Zumba gets popped out of that mech. He's still in the fight, running around the outskirts of the point, but he's still in there. He's still contesting, but that's the first tick for KongDoo
Jaehong needs that Blizzard. He needs a Blizzard right now.
He needs so much more than this, and Void could eat the Blizzard. Needs to have that defense matrix on point to try to deny this one. That's going to be EMP, and they'll go ahead and they'll get it. KongDoo Panthera finished the cap on the point B with 1 minute 16 remaining.
I feel like the story here for the failed defense for Lunatic-Hai was in that Jaehong was unable to find either of his ultimates. The first one he had, 98%, and unfortunately, it was in that moment that Miro went down. Wasn't there to Primal Rage, so he Nano boosted the Tracer instead, which wasn't a very successful use of the Nano. Sure, it bought time. Then when he switched back over to the Mei after trying to get that second Nano he failed to get, the Blizzard wasn't there in time. It was picked off consistently over and over again.
It was a game of inches though, Wolf. Eska came onto the point with the Sombra, popped it when Jaehong was at 95% charge. Died at 99, couldn't get the Blizzard down even in his death. That was what allowed the positioning to come through from KongDoo. But it's a game of inches. Jaehong trying to be the star supports, and Jaehong's flexibility to go onto the Mei. And the other side of the coin, Toby's surviving here. It was insane how much time he bought earlier in the fight. And then they could just close it. The Mei wall wasn't helping, but unfortunately it just allowed the Reaper to get free damage.
I mean, so crucial by Luffy. You know, used it initially, pushing in, had that Mei wall come through, thought maybe he wouldn't be able to get another Death Blossom before that map had finished. But
don't worry, guys. We could be going much further. Remember, Lunatic-Hai had a minute last time, and they got double cap.
Yeah, they got double cap, so it could certainly happen again.
I mean, Wolf, how far did we make it on
Okay, now, important point. Hold on, guys. Look, notice that Reaper is not being run by KongDoo Panthera. They are respecting the third time that Eska will open onto Widowmaker. They're on the Ana this time.
And dealing with Miro is going to be the key again as he comes in.
They want to deal with Eska. They knock him off that high ground. They push him back, and Jaehong does get punished for this. They're adapting their play around the Widowmaker, and they'll just shove him all the way back into the spawn. Multiple kills coming through for them. They only lose out onto Luffy at the end.
Looked like they wanted to come in, or wanted to wait, but they actually surprised us this time, going in deep, killing Eska immediately. It destroys the entire composition of Lunatic-Hai. They have to reset, and they don't have time to.
They needed some time. Because of how aggressive the defense was, they couldn't have Guido occupy the point and force the reaction from Panthera. Now, as you say, we're sub 10 seconds in just a moment.
And onto the point, Zumba already pushing forward, looking for that one, trying to get a little bit of damage down onto Fisher, who does fall below half HP. Might just get taken out, and he does. Jaehong. That Zenyatta is able to go ahead and finish off that Winston. Crucial time by here for Lunatic-Hai, who need to cap this in overtime, need to gain as much percentage as they possibly can, but losing Zumba right off the bat is not going to be helping them out whatsoever. It's traded, but they get Jaehong right after that, and Eska is still up onto the high ground with the Widowmaker, just trying to find a shot. gets a little body shot in onto Rascal, who goes low for the sound barrier, comes down in for KongDoo Panthera. Dragon Blade out by Rascal, slashing away, finds Toby, finds Guido, looking for more, and that'll just be the hole.
Really smart stuff from KongDoo Panthera. Fool me once, fool me twice. They would not be fooled a third time. Love how aggressive the defense was, because there was no time for Lunatic-Hai to use their excellent communication to say, all right, forward defense, Guido, get on the point, force them to all come back. Then there's going to be space for Eska. Instead, diving aggressively, Guido, not able to do that, not able to force the positioning. And for once on defense, KongDoo Panthera forced the positioning of Lunatic-Hai, and there was only a minute to work.
Showing flexibility here, and when the time bank gets smaller, it's a lot more difficult when you actually have been running a strategy, you prepared for this map, you've used it every single time, and when suddenly you get hit with something different, you don't have as much time. And yet again, when we saw the Dragon Blade come in, we saw the attacks, it was the supports who were under fire, and once more, Yu Jae-hung could not use his ultimate. He was denied. Rascal and Birdring getting in there, making sure he can't use his important defensive ones. And they have the time bank lead now. Let's not get crazy because this is still, again, just 116 for Panthera.
I mean, Lunatic-Hai are no strangers to the tie. They've had 2 already this season. So KongDoo Panthera have not had to deal with that sort of stress. It's only a minute 16, so...
And keep in mind, one small point here, too, is Panthera had the dominant performance on control, which is where our tiebreaker will be played, so a nice edge for them as well.
Well, just 33% all that KongDoo Panthera need to take a lead here in this series.
Maybe an edge, Wolf, but it's millimeters, not a real edge to speak of. They're going to also vary it up. Birdring, we talked about that Widowmaker. Finally, he'll open a third time ask.
All right, here we go. Already finds that opening shot in onto Zumba. Doesn't get a whole lot of damage down, but now Lunatic-Hai, they have to adjust their playstyle. Now that they're seeing him up onto that high ground. The rest of KongDoo Panthera
already down.
Forward. They get rid of Jae-hung, but they do lose out onto Luffy, so it's not without consequence. For a little bit more, that kill onto Eska would have been absolutely massive. So in the meantime, Birdring, he's been killed by Miro off screen. As the rest of KongDoo Panthera tries to posture forward in onto the point. Rascal gets forced out with that recall, gets himself out to safety, now chasing in, looking for Guido from behind. It's a couple of shots in, but cannot find the kill.
Yeah, Miro was able to chase down the Widowmaker and get back on the point without them losing any significant meterage. Eska now has the EMP as well. A comfortable spot here.
Just want to make it wait for the last second. Birdring on the Genji here, wants to have that longer fight to build up for the Dragon Blade. I don't know if it's going to be given to him, but Waka Waka will have the sound barrier soon. That's going to be his best bet, but it could all just be shut down in a flash with Eska's EMP.
Seconds remaining. Eska will go ahead and
gets taken out.
EMP, but he gets taken out first and foremost. The Fisher finds the kill, but he'll get traded up as Jae-hung with that soldier. Will taken out a Birdring, swapping over to this Genji is already starting to do work in front of the enemy soldier. For a little bit more as that pulse pump comes through. It finds Waka Waka.
Support down.
Out of the mech, and Luffy has fallen as well. No healing available for KongDoo Panthera, and they have to get in onto the point. They have to hold this. They have to get the cap up to 33%, but it's just not looking likely for them. Boyd knocked out yet again as Fisher rejoins the fight, but he's all on his lonesome, still waiting for the healers to come back through. Waka Waka throws out the sound barrier, but it's not enough to keep the Winston alive. And Lunatic-Hai might just have the hold.
He's trying to delay here. The respawns have come in, but it's too little, too late, and that's it.
That's it.
And it drops down.
Oh boy.
Here we are yet again.
And this is how you know that this is a very close grand final. 3 maps in. Somehow the 3s are the story of this particular Apex Season 3 final. We will be going all the way to a single control map just to separate who goes into our second break with a nose ahead.
Feels like what we're seeing from the alteration of Panthera too is whatever was said in the tactical pause seems to be revolving actually around killing Jae-hung. Almost feels like Birdring has a vendetta because he's the one who's consistently getting these kills. Rascal as well there on the Genji. They're looking for the support kills early, and it was a struggle before because we were seeing Miro with such good protection as well as Zumbas, but now they're struggling to keep those supports alive in the back line, and we'll see if that can continue here, but Panthera's already made a big change.
Now you can say at least KongDoo Panthera will be playing on a control point they played before, because the only control point they had not gotten in Season 3 was Nepal. So very interesting to see where we will be going. Even some of the sub-stages can be so significant in terms of what hero pool is accessible. So that information will hopefully be revealed in just a second.
See where we're headed. But high pressure situation here for both these teams. Desperately want to take the lead here in this series.
I like how you spoke a moment before, Wolf, about, okay, they got a 16-second advantage and they won on control. Remember that Lunatic-Hai also have the big experience edge. The amount of sweat that must have been expended during the course of just Temple of Anubis is going to be off the chain. And now it's just a single point control. And remember, on point control, if you fail the first push, sometimes it's all over there.
And being the fan favorite, sometimes a double-edged sword because, sure, you have the crowd cheering for you. You're up against the rookies. I call them rookies because they've never been on a stage like this before. Sure, they've played several seasons of Apex. They're veterans of playing this game competitively, but not on a stage of this size. But still, because they are the favorites, Lunatic-Hai, and because the crowd is with them, when the series goes closer than they may have expected, that's when you start to fall apart. That's when things start to get a little bit tense in the booth.
It's not a trivial factor. Even as casters, we're not going to our normal spots. Different chairs, different situation, open air. It's the same story for the players. Everything is different. You trade on your experience, and we're going to be jumping on just a single point to decide.
All right, well, here we go. Control center. Ijong Tower will decide. Temple of Anubis. It's an odd way to phrase it, but here we go. The single round tiebreaker. The guy over on the blue, KongDoo Panthera here in the red. We will have the Genji coming out yet again for Rascal.
But Eska's going to be jumping on the Sombra, so it was kind of going to be a question of who would blink first between Rascal and Eska. And this time it's Rascal.
True. Not going to be running the Genji, of course, but that's something that Rascal's found a lot of kills with in the backline. He's looking for those supports every time. You'd have to think we're probably going to see more defensive positioning here for Miro, as that has been a struggle for Lunatic-Hai, especially on Anubis.
Spray down comes through. They almost find Luffy just through several members of KongDoo Panthera. Do not find that kill in the end, but they come damn close and now have that health pack packed up onto the high ground. They can keep revisiting to try to keep themselves alive. Point gets unlocked. Ito going to be the first one to fall as Birdring comes up with the kill, but several members have gone rather low, including Void, who will get popped out of this mech, but it's still KongDoo Panthera looking to trade up. They got rid of Miro, but now they need to look for the cap.
Waiting for the rig. Sumba loses his mech as well as Eska's free hit.
That's Rascal just coming up with multiple ones. Nice snapback there from
Oh, he's
Eska.
a
Another boop there. Comes through from Fisher, says, I know. Well, I will not allow this one. You have to get off the map. Smacks him down yet again. Stops him in his tracks, and that will be the first cap coming through for KongDoo
Fisher spent so much of those initial engages splitting the lightning gun over multiple members that he had a 40% lead on the Primal Rage over Miro. Now, he won't have that for the future fight for Rascal. He might actually be taken down close to the Dragon Blade.
Yeah, Pulse Bomb comes out, but the defense matrix was there, so Birdring going to be losing out onto that one, and now Eska gets the re-entry, throws down the EMP, and Luffy's going to be the first one that falls. Ito has his Pulse Bomb, but it still is not going to be finding a stick, not going to be finding any damage. Here, flip on the point here from Lunatic-Hai, just a couple more seconds on the point. There we go, will come through.
But they have the Sound Barrier Dragon Blade available for the retake here. Eska had to use the EMP, so this is going to be a huge combo. The Transcendence as well. As long as they don't stack these support ultimates, they should be able to get the quick flip.
Nice conservative play by Waka Waka. He actually had his ult available after the EMP for a long time. Realized that with the tank and also his secondary support down, it didn't matter if he could give a bit of extra help to the side of Rascal. They'll rely on the next approaches. Okay.
Transcendence out here by J-Hong, just trying to maintain control over the point as Rascal also has that Dragon Blade out, so he will not be gaining anything really for it. That barrier will be
overlap the support ultimate.
By KongDoo Panthera, they do overlap it, but they are able to come up with a kill on the J-Hong, but they need so much more than that if they want this retake. Void being knocked out of his mech is not going to be helping a damn thing here for KongDoo Panthera. He's got EMP ready to go yet again. Is under fire, snaps back in, keeps himself alive, and will throw down the EMP right at the last second, but he gets taken down right swiftly after. Void, the baby default, comes up with that one. Nearly has the retake here for KongDoo Panthera, just a little bit more, and they'll have that flip back over into their favor for Lunatic-Hai. They want to buy as much percentage for themselves as they possibly can. They'll reach 53 before that flip hits.
The support ultimate stack there for Lunatic-Hai, I think, was really what lost it for them there.
It was from KongDoo Panthera as well.
Yeah, but it was staggered a little bit better, which allowed Rascal to survive throughout all of that. Now he's going to have another Dragon Blade, so even though they end up using those support ultimates, stacking them a little bit, he's about to have another Dragon Blade. They're going to build towards half support. They have the old advantage here, and they're taking up towards the top.
Bomb comes through, does find Toby, takes him out Birdring. It's pretty much akin to what we saw in that Trash Talk video, just isolating, taking down the supports, and he does it yet again right here for KongDoo Panthera. They'll maintain control. They have surpassed Lunatic-Hai.
And one ultimate Achilles buys them so much time. The moment the stick came onto the Lucio, the fight was done for Lunatic-Hai. Basically a free 25% meterage. Now we're going to go into the late game. Remember, they only had to use that single ult, and Waka Waka and Luffy are almost at 100%, and Lunatic-Hai are nowhere near. They need the same sort of heroics from Guido.
And that's why it was so nice that he was able to get this Dragon Blade. He's going to have it with a support ultimate here for the final hold. Lunatic-Hai need a miracle. They only have the EMP. It's going to be their only tool.
But Iska
he's already dead.
Fallen. Yeah, they go ahead, they get rid of him. Nice deflect coming through here from Rascal. Almost finds the kill. Onto Guido, can't quite get it in the end, but he still is holding on to that Dragon Blade, looking for a nice opportunity to use it. J-Hong so so close to that transcendence, but he still does not have it yet. In the meantime, he's going to pop his. Dragonblade comes out. Rascal cuts down one, finds two, looking for more. Can he get it? Yes, he does. Jayhawk falls, and Rascal might have just won this map for KongDoo Panthera. Miro going in, has the primal rage to try to stay alive, but everybody is just crumbling around him. He'll go low. He'll get taken out. Overtime, starting to take down his Lunatic-Hai, desperately tries to make it back in here, but Fisher's gatekeeping, he'll deny that, and that is Lijiang Tower, Temple of Anubis, going over to KongDoo Panthera.
And we knew when we came into this series, we talked about it as being the biggest storyline is DPS against supports. The DPSs are starting to win. We're seeing Birdring and Rascal on the Genji, getting the backlights, killing the supports multiple times. The support synergy to make those Dragon Blades happen are winning out, and unfortunately supports aren't able to carry anymore.
And my eyes were focused on the supports of KongDoo Panthera, layering ultimates, but like you rightly point out, at the same time that was happening from Lunatic-Hai, and we have those higher expectations of Lunatic-Hai's supports. We saw the difference, the Sombra versus the Genji, as you can see, some of the players kind of just taking into stock what has happened, but the Birdring play there, the stick onto the Lucio, won them the round, and also they could not get value once, just once, but that particular map could not get value out of Eska's EMP.
And I feel like, too, in this, we're seeing more DPSs, right? Lunatic-Hai can't run the Genji. That's something they don't have. They showed us good Reaper. They had to flex into it, but it feels like Panthera's kind of leading the meta in this best of 7 because